Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and I really ought to shave. I mean, we all know that it's sheer bone idleness that means I currently have facial hair. I have documented this several times in the past, most notably in my Vlogmas videos. I only bring this up because Anthony Andrews mentioned about one of them yesterday, and so I went to find that and ended up watching several of them myself. And it was strange to hear myself talking about Christmas in June, but what can we do? The journey to work this morning has been a strange one, and I'm hoping that it's actually like representative and some like foreshadowing for the way that my day is going to go, because I got to the bottom of the one-way system, which is, as I've mentioned, my entry point onto the main road to where I work, Stockport, Manchester. And I think that after watching the news this morning, maybe all the stuff going on with the railways might have some impact onto the amount of traffic that there is on the road at the moment. So usually at that time of day, when I'm leaving 7:20, there isn't a lot going on. Usually the road is quite clear, yet this morning it was full. And I got down to the end of this one-way system, was like, no one's letting me out. Nobody is going to be fool enough to let me go. And then this very kind gentleman in a grey transit van let me go straight in front of him. And I was like, that's kind. That's really kind. And so that made my day. Basically, that is the height of this morning, and let's just hope that such good luck continues. Touch wood. It's been what some would call a strange week. Obviously, we had the bank holiday last Monday. On Tuesday, I chose to read a book because I was thinking quite a lot about the fact that I hadn't read in May, really. And I think maybe I'm overanalyzing these things a lot, but I've said before how like I get a bit like fractious if I'm not like creating or reading, if I'm not doing something that I feel is amounting to something or is worth something. So if I'm not reading like a certain amount of pages a day, or if I'm not writing, then I get into this headspace of like wasting time, which was mentioned in the procrastination video. And so I just spent last Tuesday reading, and although it wasn't like the best book in the world, it did inspire those thoughts of, well, if I read all of my small books now, I could have a really great amount of books read by Friday. It didn't happen, because then I was like, I'm picking the longest book off my shelf to read. But still. Then Wednesday I was at work, and basically that was a day that it poured down with rain. It's a day that I was doing overtime to cover for another member of staff, and it was a rather quiet day, but busy for me because I ended up on the till from 12 o'clock till 4:30, but I was also pricing clothes, so I was constantly in the like middle of the shop, in the front of the shop, and it's fine, you know, it's what we do. And really, it could have been better, but yeah, at least I got to, you know, talk to people I hadn't seen in a while and see how they were getting on. Thursday, writers group, ended up, I don't know whether any of you watched Dane Reed's video in which he did 5 poetry tags, and one was the poetry challenge, and I said that I might like to use that for the writers group one day. Well, that day came around a lot quicker because I saw that video on Tuesday and ended up using it on Thursday, because the person that I'd booked to lead the workshop I hadn't been in contact with, so I ended up having to lead the workshop, and I was just like, let's do this, and it actually ended up filling up the hour and a half that we had. Then Friday I was back at work on the till all day. I recorded my booktube watching tag, and then I hated that, so I deleted it and redid it again on Saturday. Saturday morning, I awoke to the news that they believed that my dad's mother was going to be dying at the weekend, and so she's currently still in hospital. So far, she has woken up, punched a doctor, and rambled a bit. So we'll see how things are going there. But that was and still is quite a tense time, and we will just have to see how things go there. And Friday and Saturday, I really just wrote a lot of poetry, because it's ended now, but my good friend Margaret Holbrook, the writer and poet and script writer, is collating, curating, publishing an anthology of poetry surrounding the theme of landscapes, and every time I've tried to write one, it's just not worked out, so I just really tried to get some poetry out. Some landscapes, some just like personal things, some that will never see the light of day, some which will definitely be getting burnt at some point in the next few weeks, but what can you do? And then we had Sunday yesterday, and Sunday I have started a buddy read with Anthony Andrews of Wave Me Goodbye by Jacqueline Wilson, and it's been a long time since I read a Jacqueline Wilson book. Anthony came to me and said, did I want to do a buddy read? And obviously I'm always open to reading books with people. It's what I do. So he chose this book. I went to the library and got it. And I do question whether Wave Me Goodbye, because it's a wartime book, is because of that song. Was it Wish Me Luck As You Wave Me Goodbye, that song? And that song has been going round in my... Well, not the whole song, just those two lines from the flaming song. Or is it just one line? I'm not sure. Either way, the book's called Wave Me Goodbye. It's a wartime book by Jacqueline Wilson. I think that by the end of it, I am going to be recommending it to people who would want to teach their children about World War II in an entertaining fashion. But personally, I prefer Jacqueline Wilson's more modern stuff, like The Bed and Breakfast Star, and obviously Tracy Beaker. Those were my two favourite. Well, actually, my favourite was The Bed and Breakfast Star as a child. And yes, it has been about 18 years, maybe. No, 18 to 15 years, because those were the years in which I read Jacqueline Wilson. I do need to sneeze. Anyway, I'm also reading the Book of Strange New Things by Michel Faber, because I basically decided I wanted to read that book. I am going to sneeze at some point. Anyway, that is for all the good books so far. I'm about 180 pages in. I'm due to start the second part tonight. You can just see that my eyes are so ready to sneeze here. And yeah, the Book of Strange New Things, this gentleman called Peter ends up going to an alien planet to teach the natives there about Jesus and religion. I'm having some thoughts about where this book could go already, and I'm hoping that I might be proved wrong, but we will see. Anyway, why don't you let me know about your week in the comments? Yeah. Also, thank you to the few people that did review Our Doris this last week on YouTube and on Goodreads and on Twitter, because it really does mean a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.